Somebody was complaining that they couldn't see my shirts. I have amazing news. I got accepted to sell on Whatnot. I'm super excited. I am not, I've never considered myself to be a business person, businessing, and kind of feel very Mary Kay about my side hustles and stuff, but whatever. I have amazing science fiction books that I want to get into your hands, and I know that you want them too. So my first auction is set for November 18th at 3 p.m. That's not this Saturday, but next Saturday. And there'll be a link in the description. There'll be a link in the description, and I'm pretty sure that if you click that link, it will give you, if you've never signed on to Whatnot before, it'll give you a $15 credit, and you can use that for purchases or whatever. So if you've never been on Whatnot, click that link. You should be able to get a credit. And if you are on Whatnot already, click the link, hit the bookmark for the show, and you'll get a notification for when it's about to happen. Since this is my first show, I have some amazing stuff that I have held to the side for this possible occasion. So this isn't going to be your average Whatnot schlog. There's some great stuff. I don't know if it'll be available by the time I get this video up. I'm pretty sure it will be. But when you click on the auction, there should be a way to view the list of books that I'm going to sell. And at some point, I'm not totally sure when this is allowed to happen, but at some point prior to the auction, pre-bidding will be allowed if there's anything you really want. So either way, the book haul that you're about to watch was filmed a few days ago when I was still in the unsure land about whether or not I would be accepted. So keep that in mind, but a lot of the books that you see in this haul will be in that auction, along with some special. So I'm really excited about you being there. I'm a little nervous about it. I'm excited about sort of the two-way aspect of this. Plus, I'll get to play music. It should be a fun time. My aim, and the thing that I like about Whatnot auctions, are the people who set a nice environment, a nice atmosphere that you kind of want to hang out in. And even if you're not buying books, you can hang out in the chat, talk to like-minded people, nice people. So come for that if you don't want to buy books. If you just want to see me go through the books and chat with people, it's super rad. You should feel comfortable doing that. Either way, I'm really excited. Check out this book haul. You can see what, some of the stuff that's going to be in the auction. All right. A really large book haul to bring you. I gotta say, I'm a little behind on my reading right now. This is sort of the transitional time of year, and kind of late November through December and January is typically for me a pretty hardcore reading time, mostly because it's so cold here. But at the moment, I am just wrapped up in projects, so I have not done my fair share, and I am behind in my book reviews, so we'll get around to that. I do have quite a large stack of books, so this is probably going to take a while to get through. I imagine that, we may be here for 40 or 45 minutes or more, so get comfy. So I pulled most of these books out of sort of my usual haunts. My wife actually found a handful of these. One of them in particular was really cool. In fact, I think I'll start with that one. She was in a thrift store yesterday, and she sent me just a picture of a portion of the dust jacket, and she sent me that. and I instantly knew what it was. I was super excited. So it's a book club edition, which is great. I have been looking for a hardcover edition of this for years, and aside from some first edition signed copies that I had seen at some higher end book sales, this is the only hardback version that I've ever come across, and I'm super excited. This is mine. This is not going anywhere. She also found this book club edition of The Inverted World by Christopher Priest. And I've got these large volumes. I'll go ahead and get these out of the way for stacking's sake. I found a copy of the Encyclopedia of Psychoactive Plants, which is a pretty great book. This is a little out of date at this point, but there's still some really great information in here. This is just sort of a side topic that I'm interested in, but it's cool. This is a cool book. I also found this. This is a Mel Brooks book on the Young Frankenstein, and it's great. It's sort of an exploration into the film, and I'm pretty sure that this was printed about the time the film was released. No, 2016. So this is new, but this is great. My wife also found this, again, Dangerous Visions, and it's a book club edition, but it's in great shape. I was so stoked when she brought it home. And this is one of those, like, she grabbed it and she's like, I'm not going to tell you what I found until I get home, and I'm going to show you. But yeah, really great condition. Got some stupid thrift store stickers on the back, but we'll deal with those. And she found this, Battle for the Stars by Edmund Hamilton, which I think this is early 50s. This is a book club edition. Let's see. 61. We're still in pretty great shape. Also found a copy of Imperial Earth by Arthur C. Clarke, and a copy of The Hollow Lands by Michael Moorcock. I think this is also a book club edition. Yeah, book club. And I found a copy of Transformation: The Breakthrough by Whitley Strieber. You guys know how I feel about this stuff. And I never pick up Michener. He's everywhere. But I did find a first edition copy of Space. And so I figured, well, it's in my lane. So I grabbed it. I don't typically pick up Micheners. I'm not really sure how they sell, but I'm not dogging on Michener. He's rad, and his books are great. They're well researched, but it's just a lot of them. I don't want to start piling up Micheners in my house. Sort of in that same vein, I found a copy of We, which is about the Mercury astronauts, the 7 Mercury astronauts, and it's in pretty great shape. I'm not sure if there's a market for that, but I'm a huge space program nerd. I also found a copy of For All Mankind, and it's I'm not sure if anyone has watched the series on Apple. I watched it when we all had the plague a couple weeks ago, and there's a series called For All Mankind, and it is an alternate history of the space program. This is not related to that, but it is just fantastic and very cathartic in some ways, and it really shines a light on, I think, what we're missing out on. terms of potential space program. And I found a copy of Helconia's Summer by Brian Aldiss. This is in pretty great shape, and I believe that this is a first edition. Yes, this is a first edition. I came across a knot of PKDs. We got the 3 Stigmata, Valis, and the Man in the High Castle. These are all mostly in great shape. And it's so funny, just to bring up the book scanners again. I had a guy in front of me in one of the stores he was scanning along and just waiting for that green light, and I watched him pass up these two, and it just completely blew my mind. It's like, homie, PK Dick sells, and yeah, I don't know, man. I guess he just didn't know. And I found a copy of The Stainless Steel Rat Gets Drafted, and this is a hardback, and I believe that this is a first edition. Yeah, I believe so. It appears to be. And again, I really don't pick these up unless they're in great condition and first editions, but this is a very good kind. Also found a copy of The Moon is a Harsh Mistress, and a copy of Camp Concentration by Thomas Dish, which I have yet to read any Dish, but I'm very excited to do so. Also found a new reprint of The Listeners by James Gunn, and a copy of Klingon for the Galactic Traveler. These are fun. And I got this great copy of Hyperion by Dan Simmons. And there is a market for classic fishing books, and I am a fisherman and love these books as well. So when I see them, I tend to pick them up. I found it looked like somebody's collection had been donated. So this is the Complete Book of Freshwater Fishing. This is 1960s. And then this is a book called Remembrance of Rivers Past. It's a fly fishing book. I haven't looked these up specifically, but I know that these will likely sell very well. And I found this classic fly rod casting book. And again, there's just a special market for these that people really love. Old fishing books. This is 53, so these will find a great home, I'm sure. And I also found a copy of Tom Brown's Field Guide, The Forgotten Wilderness. Now, I've said this before, and I really need to follow through on this at some point. We need an entire video about Tom Brown, because there's a lot to unpack here, including probably some fun baggage. Needless to say, or maybe this is needed to say, I need to say that Tom Brown's books are extremely entertaining. And if they're purchased for pure entertainment value, and read for pure entertainment value, then that's enough. There is a lot to question about the veracity of his claims, both personally and in terms of survivalism. But I can't be the judge on that. I can tell you that his books are very, very interesting and very fun to read, if taken with a grain of salt. And I was talking to a buddy recently, and I said, in a way, Tom Brown is in the same boat for me as people like Carlos Castaneda. It's a consensual fiction written as nonfiction. There are probably other great examples of that, but the difference, I think, is that I don't think Tom Brown has ever hurt anyone, or his methods have ever led to anyone being hurt necessarily, but maybe can't say the same thing about Carlos Castaneda, so I don't know. And I love picking these up. This is a complete Prophecies of Nostradamus. These and Bermuda Triangle books, they're always great. I never find Bigfoot books. I never find Sasquatch books, and I'm always a little disappointed about that, but I keep an eye open for them. Then I found a newer edition of Glory Road by Heinlein. Also found a book club edition of Galactic Empires Volume 2 by Brian Aldiss, and luckily I already have these, so this is going to go up for sale. It's got a little bit of dust jacket trauma, but I think it's generally okay. And sometimes you find you find this weird synchronicity where you end up finding the same book in multiple places within the span of a couple of days of each other, and it's wild. I don't know if there's any additional drama regarding this author at this point, or maybe all the weird evangelicals are, they've decided he's not cool anymore and they're donating all of his books. I don't know, and there's a lot of assumptions built into this, but I found not one copy of Fingerprints of the Gods, and not 2 copies of Fingerprints of the Gods, but 3 copies of Fingerprints of the Gods. And I have to say, Graham Hancock probably goes into that same boat as Tom Brown and Carlos Castaneda. This is fun to read because it scratches this little curious part of my brain. But I don't necessarily put the weight of factual science into this. So, if you haven't read these books, I highly recommend them. They're entertaining in the same way that Eric Von Däniken is entertaining. But yeah, cool to end up with 3 copies, and I don't own a copy of this, so one of these will be mine. And before we bust into the paperbacks, I want to show you this. This was also left behind by the book scanner that was in front of me this particular day. But I found an OG copy of The Stand. There's no dust jacket. Now, I've researched this as much as I can at the moment. I'll do some more looking later. Now, this does not say first edition. It has the copyright date 1978, and since it doesn't have a dust jacket, I can't verify whether or not it's a book club edition. However, when I have looked up the book club editions and the first editions, there's inconsistency between the type of printing of the actual hardbound edition. Some of them have like a black edge, and then some of them are cream like this, and it doesn't seem to differentiate between the actual first editions and the book club editions. There are book club editions with the black edge, and there are first editions with the black edge, and there are first editions that are cream like this. So and then the actual first editions will say first edition on them, although I think we all know that to some extent, there's that's not always the case with first editions, especially ones from the 60s and the 70s. They don't all say first edition down here. Sometimes they'll just have the copyright date. So it's really unclear whether or not this is an actual first edition, first printing. My gut says that it's probably a book club, but I'm going to do some more research. I'm going to figure it out. Either way, even if this is a book club edition, this is still a valuable book in the state that it's in, even without a dust jacket. I did look to see if a facsimile jacket could be purchased for these, and I don't see anybody making them at this point. Probably for good reason, but the facsimile jacket wouldn't necessarily do anything to the value of the book, but it would make it presentable in the way that, you know, the original would have been. So that's an extremely satisfying thing to find either way. I found this Frederick Pohl novel, Mining the Ort, which is cool. I've never seen this one before, but conceptually I'm totally down. And I also have some very cool classic UFO books. This one is from '75. This is the UFO controversy in America. And there's a foreword by J. Allen Hynek on it. And I don't know if you know anything about Hynek, but Hynek ran Project Blue Book for the military. And his stated job during that time was to sort of push back on the public and cover over the phenomenon. But later in life, he came out and said, hey, this is too weird to ignore, and sort of attempted to backpedal his own positions on it, his stated positions on it when he was working for the government. I also found this one. This is the Flying Saucer Reader, edited by J. David. I believe this is also going to be from the 60s or 70s. Let's see. Yeah, 1960. And then my wife found, and this is the oldest UFO book I have ever come across. This is Flying Saucers and Common Sense by Varney Girvin. And this is from 55. And I love this. The will to believe, the will not to believe. There's just all kinds of things here. This is interesting. I'm interested to actually read this one because of its age. It is untainted by the intrusion of science fiction into the UFO narrative, which I think we can all recognize there's a lot of that going on. Especially with the more wackadoo approaches and theories to it all. You get a lot of people who are really just grafting on bits of their favorite science fiction librettos onto the phenomenon. So, I don't know. Being early 50s and so close to the Roswell incident, I think this will be pretty interesting. And I'm just looking through here. It references cases that I never hear referenced in any, common discussion about it in our current moment. So, and I found a couple of William Gibson novels. This is Spook Country, and I also found this one, Pattern Recognition. And I got a hardback edition of Slow River, which I have a trade paperback version of this that I'm keen to read. I've heard great things about it. I also found this. This is a cyberpunk anthology called Altered States. And this one's called First Contact, The Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. And it's edited by Ben Bova. And it seems to be short stories based on the subject. So that's pretty exciting. Okay, I have a massive pile of paperbacks, and some of them are really surprising finds, and some of it's a little passé. I'm going to kind of roll through it all pretty quick, give you an idea of what's here. And like I said, I can't make any guarantees, but my hope is that the bulk of what I'm going to show you will end up in a Whatnot auction sometime this month. Okay, so this is a Stories in Honor of Asimov, Foundations and Friends. This is edited by Martin Greenberg. There's so many of these. It's just shocking. It's like there's this whole publication genre from the 70s and the 80s, where it's like, we're going to stamp Asimov's name on it, and that's going to help it sell. I can't speak to the stories that are in here, but... Now, this is not something I have ever come across. This is a Pan Books edition, so this is a Great Britain print, a UK edition of So Long and Thanks for All the Fish. This is printed in '84, and it is in really great shape. Like I said, I've never come across a UK edition of any Douglas Adams, so I'm probably going to end up letting this one go, but it's still very exciting to find. This is a Star Trek book, The Fate of the Phoenix, and I've never actually seen this one out in the wild before, and it's in really great shape. I found a copy of The Singularity Project by F.M. Busby. I also found a copy of The Fall of Hyperion. Found this copy of Catch-a-Lot by Ellen Dean Foster. It appears to be a whale novel. Not entirely sure, but that's intriguing. And a copy of Voyage from Yesteryear by James Hogan. I ran into a bunch of Hogans. I found another copy of The Gentle Giants of Ganymede. Also found this copy of A Fire Upon the Deep. It's in pretty great shape. It's been read, but it seems to be very readable still. Also found The Great Time Machine Hoax by Keith Laumer. I stopped picking up Laumers a while back, but this one was too cool not to grab. There's a lot going on there. And I found C.S. Lewis's Space Trilogy. I'd found this once before, and I actually found it in the same place. And it was the exact same situation. They weren't stacked together on the shelf together. They were spread out throughout the randomized books in the thrift store. But I was really pumped to find those. I grabbed 2 copies of Close Encounters of the Third Kind. These are 2 different editions. One of them has the movie still, and one of them doesn't, but it's pretty cool. And I also found a copy of THX 1138, which there's a lot of criticism of that film, but I'm actually a big fan, and there's some very strange parallels to our modern situation. I found this. This is a David Gerald and Larry Niven, The Flying Sorcerers. So that's pretty cool. And a copy of The Ginger Star. Also found a really great condition copy of Nova. I don't think this has been read. And a copy of The Deep by Peter Benchley. And I came across this set. This is a Ballantine set of The Lord of the Rings. I think this was published in the late 80s. This is the set that I grew up with. So, even though these are some of the stranger, less interesting covers, I don't know, when I think of Lord of the Rings, this is what I think of. And I've found just an absolute mess of Zelazny's. Let's see, there's The Last Defender of Camelot, 9 Princes in Amber, Blood of Amber, Jack of Shadows, that's very exciting, The Eternal Man. This isn't a Zelazny, this is something else. This is Louis Poels and Jacques Berger. There's another one, I think, from the same print edition somewhere in here. I don't know anything about these, but it just strikes me as fascinating. The Sign of the Unicorn. Oh, here's the other one. Impossible Possibilities. It's the same 2 guys. Interesting. I'll have to look these up. And then Sign of Chaos, Guns of Avalon, and The Trumps of Doom. I feel like there's some more Zelazny's hiding in here somewhere. I'll probably find them in a minute. I found a copy of The Enchanted Pilgrimage by Clifford Simak and The Goblin Reservation. And another copy of Cryptozoic by Brian Aldiss. I'm surprised this one isn't more popular. I feel like it should be. And I found a bunch of DAWs. I got Day by Night by Tanith Lee. I found Destiny Doll by Clifford Simak. Down Below Station by CJ Cherry. This is The Spinner by Doris Bashara. And Spell of the Witch World by Norton. Also found the Hawks of Arcturus by Cecil, Snyder? The Third. And another copy of Halcyon Drift by Brian Stableford. And Raspberry in Black by Brian Stableford. That's hot. I don't have that. I do now. And I found this copy of To Open the Sky by Robert Silverberg. And a vintage copy of 2001, which I was very excited about. That one is definitely mine. I don't own a copy of that. So I found this Ace Double. This is Philip E. High, Invader on my back. And then, what else do we have here? We have Destination Saturn by David Grinnell and Lynn Carter. So we have a fuzzy. Very, very exciting. And then I found a copy of Operation Long Life by Hoffman Price. This has a really great embossed cover. This is a Timescape by Gregory Benford, and it's in really great shape. There's a little bit of leaning on it, but mostly that's really fantastic. Also found a copy of Earthship and Star Song. That's a Berkey cover. Love that. And then I found Red Moon and Black Mountain by Joy Chant with an introduction from Lynn Carter. And Wayfarer by David Schmidt. Bibblings by Barbara Paul. These are pretty weird. The Treasure of Wonderwhat by Bill Starr. These are all weird little publications I have never run into. And then we got a Jerry Purnell. We got The Mercenary by Jerry Purnell. That's a cool edition. Found a copy of Orbitsville by Bob Shaw. And a copy of The Islar by Mark Saxton. Let's see. Also found a copy of The Space Merchants. It's a pole and corn bluth. So this is actually pretty good for what it is. And then I found a copy of The Men in the Jungle by Norman Spinrad. I might actually have a hard time letting that one go. Found a copy of Star Dreamer by Cordwainer Smith, and this is just awesome. I'm probably not going to let this one go. It'll take some convincing. It's good. It's Cordwainer. This is going to be rad. And then a copy of Rom by Carl Scheller. Found The Company of Glory by Edgar Pangborn, that's pretty exciting. I don't run into Pangborn very often, but I know that he has much praise. I found a copy of Starwell by Alexei Panshin. I'm going to look that up. That's curious. And you can't go wrong with Surfing Samurai Robots by Mel Gilden. Surfing Samurai, let's take a look at that real close. We have a samurai robot that is in fact prepared to surf. So, also found a really nice copy of Neutron Star by Niven. These are some of the best Niven short stories. Some of my favorites, personally. I found a copy of Rendezvous or by Alexander Smith. And that's another Berkey. Love them Berkeys. And then a copy of Imperial Stars by Jerry Purnell. During this run, I ran into a ton of Purnells, and I just had to leave them behind. I usually don't pick up Banes. I have feelings that are irrelevant mostly about Banes, but I do grab them sometimes, especially if they're in good shape. Found a copy of Spectres of the Dawn by S. Andrew Swan. We have a furry. And this is very exciting. I found a copy of Wolfbane by Pohl and Kornbluth. A dynamic duo. This is another Purnell King David spaceship. And then I found Brother Assassin by Fred Saberhagen. I've never run into this copy before, but this is great. That's an awesome cover. Found a copy of Lord Caliban of Otherwind, H.B. Piper. And then When the Star Kings Die by John Jakes. I'm completely unfamiliar with that, but that looks like some amazing trash. And let's see, what have we got? Final Circuit by Melinda Snodgrass. And let's see, Bright Suit Mac Bear by L. Neil Smith. And then this one looks amazing. Look Back to Earth by Don Feel. And then Federation by H.B. Piper. And then I ended up walking away. I did this again. I did this before, but some of these covers and editions were too great to leave behind. So this is a whole pile of E. Doc Smiths. The Gray Lensman, Masters of Space, and Triplanetary. Also have the Masters of the Vortex, which that's an incredible cover. Space Hounds of IPC, Getaway World, and then another one of these, Skylark, Skylark Dukins, okay. Pretty sure that's by the same artist that did this one as well as the others. This is First Lensman again, and then Second Stage Lensman. Very cool. You know, E. Doc Smith, he is who he is. You gotta expect what you expect from him, but those are great. Couldn't pass those up. Alright, well, that about wraps it up. I really appreciate your time. I'm very excited to share my first Whatnot auction with you, so whenever that gets straightened out, I'll probably make a special little announcement video, and I hope to see you there. I think even though the sales page and all that stuff isn't quite active for me yet, you can find me on there at the Book Rapport. So if you just search the Book Rapport, you should be able to find my profile, and you can follow along and get updates about when auctions are scheduled. So, and like I said, I plan to kind of do one or two a month at the most. So keep them rare, keep them awesome, and only give you the best. So thank you, and y'all be nice to each other. Thanks.